World's tough right now. Maybe it's all uphill from here.
Online content creators will often have a happy and positive facade, with little knowing just how much inner turmoil they're facing, until it's too late. One example of this would be Reckful, who we'll discuss in depth today. Byron Daniel Bernstein, better known as Reckful, was born on May 8, 1989 in Tel Aviv, Israel. When he turned 2, his family moved to Los Angeles, California, where he grew up. Like many others, Reckful's brother introduced him to the fascinating world of video games early in his life. When he was only 4, his oldest brother, Guy, allowed him to play Doom, which appears to be the first game he ever played. During this period, Byron also played the SNES for the first time, where he fell in love with Secret of Mana, with it eventually becoming his all-time favorite. But not everything was so ideal in the young boy's life. When Reckful was 6, Guy ended his own life by overdosing on antidepressants, after a long struggle with his mental health. As a result of the brother's unfortunate passing, the young man's life changed forever, with effects so profound that one's left to wonder how differently things could have been if he hadn't undergone such a horrific tragedy. Ever since then, Byron battled with depression throughout his life, and was eventually diagnosed with type 2 bipolar, a form of the disorder marked by hypomania and major depression. At 16, his poor mental state got the better of him, and he attempted to end his life as well. Thankfully, he survived, but the cognitive anguish remained. He saw many therapists over the following years, and his family barred him from taking SSRIs because they feared he would meet the same grim fate as Guy. Despite his hardships, Reckful found solace in the gaming realm. In 1999, he had his initial experience with a massive multiplayer online game, which he quickly became infatuated with, as it would be the genre that set the stage for his future online career. The first MMO Byron played was Asheron's Call. This game was centered around combat and in turn fighting other players. One could label themselves a player killer or PK, meaning they could strike any other PK, and once this happened, a duel between them could commence. Byron identified as a PK and rapidly became the MMO's most revered player. No one was a match for him, as he easily beat all he chose to engage. Throughout middle and high school, the game was Byron's fixation, and had a tremendous impact on his teenage years. But all good things must come to an end, and Asheron's Call was losing steam by the mid-2000s. However, his real life was looking up as he began dating his first girlfriend around this time, Jenna, who would play a key role during his life and eventual streaming career. While Asheron's Call may have lost relevance, something even better was waiting for Byron. In 2004, Blizzard Entertainment released the immensely popular World of Warcraft, and this game rocked the teenager's world. It had many new features and content, making the previous MMO he had played look like amateurs developed it by comparison. Yet Byron wasn't immediately captivated by WoW. The first time the young man played, he quit once he reached level 30 because he found the in-game quest to be too dull. But 3 years later, Byron gave it a second chance when a buddy gifted him an account. This new profile was named Reckful, a moniker that would soon become iconic. Byron's friends purchased him a copy of the game because something piqued his interest. It was the new Arena game mode, a player versus player experience akin to Asheron's Call. When Byron first dipped his toes into this intense game, his playstyle had a unique flair as he honed in on dominating his foes with many innovative and extravagant methods, making him successful almost immediately. The first season Byron played, he managed to earn himself the coveted Rank 1 title, and soon after, this was a regular occurrence for the godlike player. At this time, an achievement like this was practically unheard of, and the breakneck speed at which he accomplished this made it even more impressive to onlookers. A former WoW blog known as World of Ming also took notice of Reckful's insane talent, and users began blogging about the rising star, where they called him the Golden Child. The post on this site caught the eye of two notable WoW arena players, Soda and Venruki. These two individuals played for Complexity Gaming, a leading esports organization. Around this period, the org had a vacant spot on their WoW team, and they desperately needed a new player, so they decided to bring Byron on for a trial run, especially since the internet was abuzz about how good at the game he was. Once he completed his test, the team couldn't believe what they had witnessed, and with that, they officially brought Byron on board. Complexity's decision signaled the start of Reckful's legendary esports career. Dallas was his first one, and the group landed themselves in third place. During 2009 to 2011, the crew amassed multiple top 3 placements and even once got first place in a 2010 DC competition, where they won $9,000. Through these events, the public got their initial taste at Byron's personality, seeing as how his contract with Complexity prohibited him from uploading content to his YouTube channel. Complexity would post his WoW videos to their account instead, and this worked wonders for their organization. The first was uploaded in 2010 and titled Reckful 1 Shadow Dance, which eventually became one of the most viral WoW videos online. This skyrocketed Reckful's internet fame and allowed him to become one of Warcraft's most mainstream figures. Given its unprecedented success, Byron took it upon himself to follow the video up with 2 more, Reckful 2 in 2010 and Reckful 3 in 2011. Both were instant hits, and they worked to further the gamer's popularity. But this ultimately didn't matter to Byron. His biggest concern was always his performance in the tournaments since they weren't frequently hosted, so he had to make each opportunity count. Of these events, the most significant was BlizzCon, and the scrappy gamer was determined to make it there by all means. As stated by the popular WoW content creator Asmongold,
"It's the WoW players' version of the Super Bowl."
However, to receive an invitation to the esteemed convention, a team must place in the top 8 on the arena tournament realm. If this happens, they qualify for the BattleNet Invitational, and the top 2 teams here move on to BlizzCon. Luckily for Byron and his squad, they knocked it out of the park at the arena tournament realm with a first place spot. Unfortunately, Reckful's teammates couldn't attend the Invitational for unknown reasons. Consequently, he had to create a new team to progress to the con. Additionally, he had to place in the top 8 in the tournament again with his new squad. Thankfully, in what seemed like a miracle at the time, Byron formed the perfect team, and they proceeded to the 2011 North American BattleNet Invitational. After having various hard-fought battles with different opposing teams, Byron and his squad lost in the final round. The players' hopes of attending BlizzCon were gone in one fell swoop, and Reckful would live with this burden for years. In a 2018 stream, he recounted the brutal blunder and broke down in tears.
I actually remember, like, I had this really sad face on when I had to, Azale comes and, like, shakes my hand, and Sidu, and, like, they're all smiling, and I'm just like, I'm like this. It was really sad. I wanted to win it so bad. I didn't even know I had emotions to this. That's crazy.
Following this crippling loss, Reckful chose to quit playing in WoW tournaments. Despite this decision, this wasn't the end of his career though. In mid-2012, he started streaming on the up-and-coming website Twitch, and was immediately graced with thousands of viewers per stream, sometimes even peaking at 10,000 concurrent watchers. Most of his streams consisted of WoW arena gameplay, although people didn't solely tune in for the game. They were interested in seeing Byron's joyful personality and genuine passion for World of Warcraft. The audience also appreciated his intelligence and, above all else, how transparent he was with the public. He wasn't reluctant to share his true thoughts and feelings regarding any subject. Given his open nature, Byron introduced his longtime girlfriend Jenna to his fans. The couple had been together since high school, and she was present every step of the way during Byron's esports and streaming career. When Jenna first appeared in Reckful streams, viewers quickly enjoyed her presence, and she played a prominent role in keeping the streamer's life balanced. While many labeled Byron an ingenious Warcraft player, he was also considered an innovative streamer. When he started on Twitch, the only way to make money was through subscriptions. In a stroke of genius though, Byron developed an improved revenue stream. The concept was simple. He linked his PayPal and promoted the audience to donate directly to the account instead of subscribing to his channel. In return, the donator's name and message temporarily appeared on the screen. This is now an industry standard. With such a genius money-making process in place, at his peak, Byron earned over $30,000 per month. This was an extraordinary amount of cash for a streamer at the time, and Reckful used his money responsibly and invested it into the stock market to grow his profits. Byron often included other noteworthy WoW players in his broadcasts, but none of these collaborations were as iconic as those he did with Mitch Jones. Reckful and his friends began rapidly growing their audiences, as Twitch streamers started garnering more recognition from the public. Soon after, Byron and his friends got the chance to move to a house together in Austin, Texas, courtesy of Skill Capped, a notable gaming organization. On one hand, the move marked a remarkable milestone in Reckful's streaming career because it proved he could play WoW for a living. On the other, moving to another state came with a huge problem, as Jenna couldn't move in with him. Despite this challenge, many OG fans fondly remember this era of content. He even drunkenly proposed to Jenna during this time.
Jenna, I have a question.
What is that?
In 2 years, when I'm finished with here and with that book I have to write,
Oh no.
and you're finished with school,
Yes.
will you marry me?
Oh my god. Duh.
But inevitably, things had to change. Byron had been consistently streaming WoW for over a year and was eager to find a new game. Enter Hearthstone, Blizzard's at the time latest release. In August 2013, the card game's beta dropped, and Byron found his new calling. Given the game's dependency on strategy, Hearthstone and Reckful were a match made in heaven. Fundamentally, the game is easy to understand. A player duels against another, with each of them possessing a deck of cards which each have their own unique properties. Byron became immensely enthralled with the world of Hearthstone to the point where he'd play it more than WoW. Months later, in November, Blizzard invited him to the Innkeeper's Invitational. This tournament would take place at none other than BlizzCon. With such a massive loss only 2 years before, Byron finally earned himself a spot at the prestigious convention. He could finally redeem himself and take home a much-desired BlizzCon win. But sadly, many things in life don't pan out in one's favor, and this was no exception. Byron lost to Kripparrian, one of Hearthstone's most famous streamers, all because of an oversight. You see, the two professional gamers were locked in brutal combat. While Krip took the lead, Reckful could have turned things around with the remaining cards in his deck, but he failed to notice this opportunity, resulting in a crushing defeat. After this, he stopped streaming for months until his return on January 5th, 2014, which truly put into perspective how soul-crushing his loss was for him. As it turned out, Reckful left the skill-capped house and moved into another home months after his return. Following this, Byron's life, reputation, and career would slowly but surely decline. On a stream in the summer of 2014, Reckful invited a female streamer named Morbor Please or Michelle as a guest. While inebriated, the two had their hands on each other in a way viewers deemed inappropriate. And this wasn't even the first time something like this occurred. As it turns out, live incidents like these with Michelle happened numerous times. At this point, Jenna was engaged to Byron and still working towards her degree. But the pair were in an open relationship, and the streamer used this as a defense when viewers confronted him on his questionable behavior. Jenna publicly approved of Byron's relationship with Michelle and claimed to have no issues with it. However, the audience didn't think the same way, with many fans uneasy about the integrity of Reckful's moral compass. Nevertheless, certain aspects of Byron's life were going very well. His pockets were getting full as he was making great returns on his investments, and he was consistently one of the largest Hearthstone streamers despite his long hiatus. He even continued frequently streaming WoW until an unexpected problem surfaced. A Reckful fan lent him his maxed out Paladin account to play Arena, and seeing as how Byron never got to experience this class, he took the opportunity with zero hesitation. Little did he know that this decision would land him in Blizzard's crosshairs. They perceived Reckful's actions as a terms of service violation, and consequently handed him a WoW lifetime ban. Once Byron realized he had his favorite game unfairly stripped away, he was distraught, going on a rant on Twitter and debating Blizzard's customer service. Blizzard took away one of Byron's most prized possessions in a split second, and many onlookers felt that the gaming giant's reaction to this situation was unwarranted. The viewer who handed him the account got away scot-free, while Reckful had to endure a permanent suspension. Predictably, the audience was furious, and there were countless pleas for Blizzard to lift the ban. In the grand scheme of things, this may seem like a minor setback to some, but things only worsened for Byron from here on out. In late January 2015, mere weeks after his tragic ban, Reckful attended PAX South, a Texas gaming convention. At the event, Byron streamed H1Z1 and had a nice time while interacting with passers-by. But eventually, a con attendee caught the attention of Reckful's chat. This person was a woman wearing a Link costume, and the audience asked Byron to bring her on the stream. He did just that, and she came over. This moment marked his first interaction with Blue, and they immediately hit it off. She stuck around and spoke for a bit with Reckful and his viewers. The duo even exchanged small pecks on the lips, and she left the stream shortly thereafter. As he was about to end the broadcast, Blue came back where they talked a bit longer, and he kissed her again, this time much more passionately. It was clear to onlookers that something was developing very quickly right before their eyes, and once he wrapped up the stream, Byron spent the rest of his day with Blue. Like the previous affairs with Michelle, Reckful caught a lot of flack for his intimate interactions with the cosplayer, and fans questioned his morals once again. He was also subsequently labeled a cheater, and many tweeted "Rip Jenna" as they believed that this signaled the end of their long-term relationship. Worst of all was Byron's attitude throughout this ordeal, as many fans believed he seemed indifferent. Despite his nonchalant attitude, Jenna seemed to take the situation much more seriously, ending their relationship. It also hurt his public image, in addition to a decline in viewership. What the audience was unaware of was that Byron had become dissatisfied with his long-distance relationship. He saw their separation as an inevitability. But again, since Byron never shared his true feelings about his relationship with his fans, they were left with an incredibly sour taste in their mouths. To add insult to injury, Reckful made one of the worst decisions in Twitch history and chose to speak to Jenna on stream following their heated breakup. As expected, it was a tormenting ordeal for the former couple and the 10,000 viewers watching.
I was under the impression that we were moving in together in the summer. I had my heart set on that. I was told that multiple times. I was told multiple times that you were done with all the girls, you were done with all the bullshit, you were ready to do this with me. And then I had to find out through Twitch that you're dating some girl that you met 2 weeks ago, and the worst part is that you didn't even have the decency to tell me.
After this incident, more fans turned on Byron, and his fragile reputation sank even lower. As aforementioned, Jenna was a very liked individual by the community, and since he had broken up with her to get with Blue instead, they despised this new lover. They saw her as the reason the beloved pair was torn apart, and weren't afraid to vocalize these opinions. This constant barrage of hate aimed at Blue deeply wounded Reckful, and he loathed the controversies surrounding his new romance. Subsequently, drama would follow Byron at every turn to the point where it became unavoidable. The mental anguish caused by this would inevitably become too much for him to handle, and so he chose to take another break in the hopes of recovering. After some time off, Reckful claimed he had felt much better and was ready to get back in the saddle again, with a promise that he would do his best to evade drama at all costs this time around. Yet his attempts were in vain, as he would land himself in controversy soon after his return. In a Hearthstone tournament, Byron showed a profound lack of professionalism in the eyes of the community. While commentating, he swore, made vulgar references, and flat out ignored one of the other commentators when he was speaking to him.
Everyone will play every other team at least once, or just once. I think that's the guaranteed round robin play. Okay, well, Reckful's kind of preoccupied, I guess, right now answering.
sorry.
In response, the Tormentor holder commented, "Casting today obviously didn't work out as expected. We really appreciate the feedback from the community. Immediate actions will be taken to rectify this. We offer our sincere apologies and will keep working on constantly improving." All this consistent negative press encompassed Byron's online presence and had an undesirable effect on his audience. His content began attracting the wrong crowd, only interested in the contentious facets of his career, and made everything in his life a spectacle for others to gossip about. This new toxic fanbase made the end of his relationship with Blue considerably harder. In October 2015, the couple split, and Blue went on a Twitter rant where she spouted all kinds of awful things about her ex. She tagged Jenna in many of these tweets, and this marked another event in Reckful's life that took a toll on his mental well-being. But Byron found himself embroiled in another controversy soon after this separation. At this time, Reckful had lost his place as the #1 Hearthstone streamer on Twitch. The former King's Throne had been claimed by a fellow creator, MaSsan SC. Byron took issue with his fame since, as it turns out, MaSsan's popularity was anything but legitimate.
Looks like MaSsan is just dominating the Twitch TV scene. 16,000 viewers. MaSsan's firing shots. How can he fire shots at me? I wonder what he says when he fires shots. What does he have to talk shit about? Damn, like, that guy doesn't view bot.
On stream, Reckful exposed the Hearthstone streamer for viewbotting. Viewers were split on their opinions of Byron following this revelation. While some believed he had delivered justice to a cheater, others found his motivations purely selfish, as they saw this as a petty act against someone who had surpassed him. Once Reckful called out MaSsan, the two had a public argument, and the latter failed to admit any wrongdoing. Nonetheless, his foe eventually faced the music as Twitch terminated his account for an infraction on their terms of service in late April 2016. He was also removed from Cloud9, the esports organization he had partnered with following his permanent suspension. At the same time as his competitor's downfall, his streams were improving. Mitch Jones, one of Reckful's best friends and fellow streamer, was frequently coming on Byron's show. Together, they made what many fans dubbed the most hilarious content on the site. They had a lot of trust in each other, but their friendship was anything but flawless. Mitch was an occasionally erratic and thoughtless person, making decisions that would negatively impact his friend's career. One such case was when Blue and Reckful began reconciling their broken relationship in early 2016. As an act of kindness and appreciation, Byron purchased Blue a new $30,000 sedan, and since he knew better at this point, he kept this on the down low, only sharing this information with his circle of friends, which included Mitch. But Mr. Jones decided to betray Byron's trust by publicly divulging his knowledge in a bizarre way. While freestyle rapping, Mitch revealed that Reckful had purchased Blue a car, and the audience quickly caught on.
500 for my blues dice. I got Blue a car, she going out to Cali.
They began relentlessly spamming "bought Blue a car" nonstop. Despite Mitch's mistake, Byron wasn't upset at him as he believed it was most likely a slip-up. Unfortunately, Jones's error led to many headaches for Reckful as he was at the heart of Twitch controversy yet again. Fans weren't going to let him live this one down, and they would spam chat with messages about the vehicle every time Byron was live.
Beep beep, the Jubon VAG.
Everybody chill.
Nonetheless, a new year was on the horizon, and it was going to be one of the most chaotic in the streamer's life. 2016 was when Byron stepped out from his comfort zone by making new kinds of content and expanding his reach. A considerable factor in this was Pokemon Go's release. When the mobile game dropped, it was an instant hit. Practically everyone on the planet was playing it. Twitch streamers were no exception. Reckful was one of the many who hopped on the bandwagon, and this propelled his growth once again. He was bringing in tens of thousands of viewers per stream, even pulling 50,000 plus at his peak. Reckful was dominating the streaming scene, and these broadcasts allowed viewers to form a deeper connection with him. Surprisingly, one of the people to show up in these live shows was Jenna, leaving many shocked that she chose to return after her terrible fallout with Byron. Apparently, the two had made amends behind the scenes in the years following their very public breakup. Regardless, the mobile game's wide popularity allowed Byron to reach a new audience and provided the viewers and creator alike with something fresh to play. But the game's incredible success was short-lived, as viewers soon lost interest as the summer drew to a close. But Pokemon Go's fade didn't deter the streamer from experimenting with his content, as he'd regularly collaborate with creators outside of his community. He was having a blast with his fans, but it wasn't without issues. Around this time, Byron was planning to visit Blue, and he made the regretful decision to share his plans with Mitch. He ignored Byron's wishes to keep it a secret and slyly disclosed his friend's whereabouts on stream, roping him into controversy yet again.
Well, he didn't tell you. I mean, I was asleep all day because I've been pretty emo.
Here, gave you one last time.
I don't know, man. That really pissed me off. Every time I talk to him about it, he's like, "Dog, I was just being funny, you know?" But I feel like there's being funny, and then there's being funny while making your friend look like a total asshole and not saying you were joking.
Mitch's actions rubbed Byron the wrong way, and he felt betrayed. While Mitch eventually claimed this was simply a joke, the trust between the two shattered, and their friendship was never the same. In fact, it would soon come to an end. At this point, Mitch was dating a girl named Myra, and like him, she flocked to ignite or be involved in drama. Reckful detested Mitch's new lover and had a public controversy with her, which left Jones in between a rock and a hard place. The couple eventually called it quits, or at least that's what Reckful thought. Mitch told Byron he was traveling to see his father, in reality though was actually visiting Myra. While the two were out on a date, they were spotted by a mutual friend of the group. Once he saw the duo, he immediately texted Byron about their location, and Mitch flew off the handle, ordering the person who caught them to go home and remove the text from Reckful's phone before he awakened. Byron inevitably discovered what was happening and finally decided to cut ties with Mitch as he felt he could no longer trust his former ally.
Some people might think I'm just trying to stir up drama, but actually I'm just trying to get out of it. I don't want to be friends maybe with people from Twitch anymore. I thought we were just chilling, having a good time all the time, but I don't think he's really my friend.
The sour conclusion of their friendship forever shaped how Reckful perceived those around him, as he became increasingly paranoid about the intentions of those close to him. With this change, the streamer finally liberated himself from the onlookers who only cared about controversy. At the end of 2016, Twitch launched a new streaming category on their platform, IRL. This update permitted streamers to explore a whole new world of content with their audiences, and Byron took full advantage of this. When 2016 came rolling around, Reckful began primarily doing real-life streams, and they were an instant hit with his viewers. He got up to all sorts of hijinks on these broadcasts, and things got even crazier when he began traveling around the globe, starting with Japan. One of the aspects of this content that viewers found the most entertaining was all the people he met along the way, including his fans, and these types of streams became commonplace on Byron's channel throughout the rest of the year, overshadowing any gaming content. He was clearly loving every second of these experiences, and so were the viewers. But towards the end of the year, Reckful took a month-long hiatus before returning in early 2018. Upon his reappearance, Byron had some amazing news to share. He announced he started dating a girl named Becca, whom he met while doing karaoke in Japan. As it so happened, she was also a Twitch streamer herself, and she regularly showed up in Byron's broadcasts. At this time, he also commenced a new show called Tea Time with Byron. This talk show featured a unique guest on each episode, and while this was by no means revolutionary, it proved that Reckful still enjoyed trying out new things. He wanted to avoid getting stale at all costs. This same year, Byron began cooking up something even more special, and this project would be the most daunting by far. As he tweeted out on June 30th, "Maybe it's possible to make a complex game with only viewer devs. Everyone working on it gets a revenue share in the game. Would have a few smart fellas I trust screen everyone." Below this tweet was a link to his Discord server. He followed up the next day. "This somehow actually happened, and the game is being made. My mind is blown. The internet is amazing." In this initial phase, it was unknown how the game would function. However, just like the stream donations, Byron was pioneering something new. His development team would solely consist of viewers, and it seemed unlikely that anything would ever come of this, given Twitch chat's immature nature. And in the following months, Reckful continued his travel broadcast with other influencers like Andy Milanakis and Greek God X until the year was wrapping up, and Byron took another lengthy break. Around the time of his reemergence many months later, Reckful had an exciting update about this game. he could finally show the world his magnum opus, Everland. The project was an MMO similar to Club Penguin. The graphics were in the style of a 2D Pokemon game, and the composer of Reckful's favorite game, The Secret of Mana, made the music for the creation. But while it seemed to outsiders like Reckful's life couldn't get any better, deep down he was struggling with a plethora of mental health issues. As stated earlier, his brother's death took a massive toll on him, leaving a lasting scar that never fully went away. Despite his success, Byron could never overcome the destructive effects of Guy's passing even all these years later. For his entire life, Byron had to fight his inner demons by himself. Many of his stream hiatuses were fueled by his profound depression, as he felt he couldn't entertain people while being in such a rough headspace. On some occasions, Byron even went as far as getting rid of his Twitch channel because of a lack of confidence. As time went on, viewers witnessed Reckful's steady mental decline, including uncontrollable mood swings and lengthy periods of depression that progressively drained him of any energy to entertain. During his darkest times, Dr. K of Healthy Gamer GG, a notable psychiatrist and Twitch streamer, came to his aid. On a set of extensive and public streams in late 2019 and early 2020, the two meticulously chatted about Byron's depression and other parts of his life, such as his past trauma, family, loneliness, low self-esteem, and other topics. Following these cathartic conversations, Reckful exhibited signs of improvement and happiness, crediting his betterment to Dr. K. At the start of 2020, Byron uploaded a video titled "Reckful is no longer depressed for the first time in 16 years, where he discussed how content he was with his current psychological state. But this new outlook on life would tragically be short-lived. Regardless of his strides with his mental health and the upcoming release of Everland, Reckful continued to suffer. At the beginning of the pandemic, Byron was back to talking about his undesirable feelings until July, when everything culminated in one irreversible decision. On the 2nd, at 8:25 AM EST, Reckful tweeted, "I know I'll always be a little too crazy, and this is proof, but at least you'll never be bored. Will you marry me, Becca? Do not make her feel pressured to say yes. I am completely insane here. I have not seen her in 6 months. The reason for the post is I know she's the one I want forever, and I wanted her to know my commitment is real." Soon after, he said, I feel bad for anyone who has to deal with my insanity. Please just know in these situations, the insane person does not feel in control of their actions." That was the final post Byron ever made. Those were his last words to his followers. A few short hours later, Blue went to Twitter to cryptically post about a recent traumatic event. I'm at a loss right now. Something I've been scared of happening for so long happened. I can't stop crying. It's so painful. Please no. Someone I loved killed themselves. I wish I could have said something to prevent it. Why? This was followed up by a tweet from another friend. No, Blue's Twitter account isn't hacked, and Byron's roommate has confirmed it. It is true. Fuck everything about this year. Later, Blue tweeted, "Byron, I wish I could have helped you. We all do. I'm so sorry I couldn't. Thank you for being a part of my life. Love you always." It was true. Reckful had done the unthinkable and ended his own life at the age of 31. Most who knew him were always worried that this day would come, and thus were horrified to see their worst nightmare come to fruition. Following Blue's string of tweets, Becca dropped a statement in the form of a twit longer. "He taught me how to have fun, to experience more, and challenged me to try to be more than what I was. He was larger than life, too big for this world. We need better support for those with mental needs." I remember Byron telling me how traumatized he was when he had the authorities called on him for being at risk of suicide. Anyone who knew him knew how much it scared and affected him. My heart hurts. I'm sure many of yours do as well. Byron just wanted everyone to be friends. So let's be that for each other during these difficult times. I will do my best to live as the best human I can be. Byron, I promise. Rest in peace. Most saddening was the brief tweet made by his older brother. "My baby brother Byron is gone. Rest in peace. He left in a similar way as my older brother Guy. I've no siblings left. If you have stories and pictures of him, please share them. Lastly, Jenna tweeted, Byron struggled with suicidal depression for most of his life. The only thing consoling me right now is that he is no longer trapped inside his mind. He was the most unique person I've ever met. I love you so much, Shmoo. More importantly, she opened a GoFundMe that would cover the funeral expenses, which raised over $60,000. While an act like this shouldn't cause problems, it sure did. Many wondered why a wealthy streamer's wake would need fundraising, and some accused Jenna of scamming donors. However, she cleared the air by stating, "Nothing is going to me. I went up to his parents' house today and connected it directly to his parents' bank account. His father stopped working in 1995, when his older brother committed suicide. They are currently living off their savings, which isn't much. Also, Byron didn't have tons like you think. Everything went to Everland. It costs a lot to pay for the work that goes into that game. My conscience is clear. It is my duty to take care of his parents now, and you know nothing about their finances." Aside from those closest to him, many fans, streamers, friends, and even the Twitch and WoW teams themselves paid their respects to the late content creator. The Warcraft team is greatly saddened to learn of the passing of one of the most memorable WoW players of all time. Rest in peace, Byron Reckful Bernstein. We extend our sincerest condolences to Byron's family, friends, and his many fans around the world. In his honor, thousands of WoW players hopped on the game to commemorate the fallen streamer. They came together at the Cathedral of Light and knelt to pay tribute to Byron. The next day, Dr. K spoke about Byron's demise on stream, and the psychiatrist broke down in tears when discussing how intensely affected he was by his suicide. A month after his death, Blizzard, the company who once banned Reckful, cemented his legacy as one of WoW's greatest players. The developer added a rogue trainer NPC as part of the Shadowlands expansion. Players could find the character at the cathedral where they celebrated his life, and they could also interact with him. Blizzard's choice was incredibly well received by the community, as many saw it as a great way to memorialize Byron's impact on the game. Since the tragedy, Everland has seemingly been abandoned and perhaps even forgotten. However, while that may be the case for the game, the same can't be said for Byron. It's been over 3 years since he passed away, and his impact on the streaming space still lingers to this very day. He continues to be fondly remembered by those who cared about him while he was around, and it's unlikely he'll ever be forgotten, so long as his legacy lives on through his content.
I'd like to give a big shout out to the YouTuber Slush for inspiring today's video, and on top of that, any money made off AdSense will be going to the Jed Foundation. So with that, I think I'll end the video here. And until next time, thanks for watching.